Taylor Payson, and I go to Appalachian State University in Boone.
I'm Andrew Cook, and I go to North Carolina State University.
I'm Tom Cortman. I go to the University of St. Andrews in Scotland.
Caroline Barnes, East Carolina.
I'm Lydia Gabbard, and I go to East Carolina.
I'm Rachel Schmidlin, and I go to Loyola University in New Orleans.
Yeah, I was going to say you'd start the next one, Erin, yeah.
I'm Erin McNeil, and I go to the good old University of North Carolina at Wilmington. How did we get this to go?
I'm Alex Floor, and I go to Georgia Tech in Atlanta.
I'm Georgia Parker, and I go to Sewanee, the University of the South in Tennessee.
I'm Theo Spears, and I go to University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
I'm William King, and I go to Davidson College.
We're going to take the next 30 to 45 minutes and talk to these young people about their experiences, and I have several questions that they will be fielding in just a few minutes, no pun intended. I also want to make a statement. I realized when I got to school today, I'm wearing App State and Georgia Tech colors. Please know in no way does this reference my partisan, but I am wearing their colors today. I made a bad choice this morning by not wearing something neutral. Okay, why don't we get started now? The first question I'm going to ask, and you guys, if you feel moved to answer the question, just hold your hand up or grab the microphone or what have you and answer the question. We'll take it as they come. Overall, do you feel prepared as a freshman for the college level work you're facing right now? We can expand on that and just say yes.
Don't fight.
I'll answer this one.
Thank you.
I only took one AP at Cape Fear, and I feel completely, I've made all B's so far, some A's, and I feel completely, ready for all the workload. It's hard. I spend most of my time in the library. But our motto at Sewanee is work hard, play hard, and APs aren't everything. And a lot of the kids at Sewanee took like 20 APs, like most kids here do. But I feel fine.
Well, I did take a lot of APs, and I took a lot of science and math-based courses because I'm on the engineering route. And there were definitely actually, if you're going in for like a math and science, there are going to be weeks where you have not a lot of work, and then weeks where you have a lot of work. But I definitely felt prepared, especially math-wise,
I didn't take any APs, and I really only had one class that challenged me this year, and it was biology. And it was not fun, but I actually got help from a student at school here now for my final, but I actually felt really prepared in the writing aspect of it. We had peer reviews, and some of the people's writing that I had to read was awful. It was horrible. So that made me feel pretty good that I was prepared for the writing, because you have to take that all 4 years.
Thanks, Caroline. Anybody else? Or you want to move on? The next question is there any class you wish you had taken at Whitney Academy that you avoided or did not take?
As someone who's studying economics, I really wish I had taken calculus in high school, so I recommend if you guys are going to be doing economics or business, you should take a high-level math course. My highest course was discrete, which didn't really prepare me. We were doing derivatives in the second week, and I was completely lost, so I had to get I had to spend a lot of time studying. So I really recommend if you guys are thinking of doing anything with business, that you should take high-level math course.
I really wish I had taken science, like a higher level, like science, because I have to take science next semester, and I'm dreading it. Science is my worst subject, so I really wish I had gotten it over with, and I wouldn't have had to take it again.
Anybody else have something they would love to detail about? We'll move on. If you were involved in the AP program here at Cape Fear Academy, how did those classes help prepare you, and did you have college credit when you went on to
I took a lot of APs while I was here and ended up going into state with like 51 credit hours already, which put me really ahead in like class selection and stuff. And then you get placed out of a lot of weed out classes in college. So definitely take some APs and get those out of the way, like your introduction to chemistry or biology.
So did you say you ended up with 51 credits?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. So you're going to graduate like next year?
Well, I took a couple APs, and I had a couple hours, but nothing like 51. And it really did help me just in the writing aspect, because every class in college I had to write more than I did in like any of my classes here besides my English classes. So I would say that it definitely really helped me taking APs, and I wouldn't have done it any differently. I never would have been able to handle nearly as many as Andrew or some of these people up here, so I think I did the right route in that department.
I took both AP Englishes while I was here, and I didn't have English this semester because I placed out of it, but and I had a few credits, but obviously not as much as Andrew. But it's really hard to compare to 51 hours. But I feel like that prepared me a lot because, like I told Miss Tarsus, I came back over fall break. I wrote one essay that probably would have made her cry if she read it, and like I made an A on it, but it was because of the level my classmates are on compared to the level that like our writing system is here. Because it was from my freshman seminar, and I mean it wasn't an English class by any means, but we had to write a lot of essays, and any essay I wrote in there, I don't know, I just feel like it really helped me. And
So in addition to econ, I take history and international relations, and IR is a political science. So what I've noticed a lot in college when you're writing analytical papers is that classes like AP Literature and especially AP European History are probably the most helpful because it's all about, at that level, being able to like analyze sources and things like that. So if you're planning on taking any kind of like liberal arts degree, you're going to be doing a lot of analysis, and I really hope that you took AP Euro or something like that, because otherwise, I don't know how I would have done it.
If anyone's planning to go to a liberal arts school, I would take a lot of AP English and history. I'm probably planning on majoring in either a math or a science, but at a liberal arts school, you have to do a whole lot of writing. So, like, AP Euro and AP Lang have helped me tremendously with having to do, writing 10 to 20 pages a week. So, it's been, that was nice.
All right, let's move on to the next question. This is probably my favorite, and you'll know why when I ask it. Remember what I always say, go to the school that is the best fit for you. How did you know the school you chose would be the best fit, and how did you come to that decision?
Well, I can answer this one. It's terrifying to go to a school in your own hometown. I mean, granted, it's terrifying to go anywhere else, but the fear that you're gonna stay somewhere and not get the college experience is absolutely terrifying when you're trying to make a decision. I applied to 10 schools, I toured them all, I got in, and I didn't like any of them. I didn't see myself there. UNCW was the one school I didn't tour. And when I went there for orientation this summer, as I was walking down Chancellor's Walk, I realized that is exactly where I needed to be. And since then, I have had every college experience that you could ask for, and honestly, it's been amazing. It's not like being home at all. I've actually only stayed at home for Thanksgiving break, no other time. Well, including this break, but that's a different semester entirely. So, I couldn't be happier. And that was something I didn't think I'd be sitting up here saying. I thought I was gonna be transferring within the first semester or within the first year. And so it's really been an incredible journey for me to be able to go from not knowing where I wanted at all. Because when I graduated, I didn't have that feeling. Everyone says that you have that feeling when you know where you're supposed to be, and you do. It might not happen right when you think it will, but you do. Because I get that feeling walking back from my classes every day at UNCW.
All right.
did not plan on going to Loyola. It was not my number one. It wasn't even on my list of 12 schools. You can ask Ms. Copenhaver. It was a very hard process. I did not get into my number one. I got into a bunch of other schools I wasn't interested in. They were my backups. So I really only had one, and she made me do backups. She will make you do that. You don't want to do it, but she makes you do it. So I didn't get into my number one. It's okay. It will happen. So I applied to Loyola because it was right beside my number one. And like Ms. Copenhaver says, you will end up where you belong. And I belong at Loyola because I love it. It's me. It's in a wonderful city. The school is perfect. So you will end up where you belong. Even though I didn't get into my number one, I think that happened for a reason. I think she can attest to that. So it will happen. So
Thanks, Rachel.
All right, I'm going to start off making up a stat, like I did so much in debate. 90% of people that go to college are going to enjoy the college that they go to. Very few of my friends, very few of the people at Carolina or at most of the schools, if you ask anybody up here, do not enjoy their experience. And the reason that they do enjoy their experience is because they're making decisions based on logic. Okay? When you are making your college decision, don't base it off of dumb things. Base it off of the level of education, base it off of the location, base it off whatever you want to base it off of. But if you talk to your parents and they're telling you that your decision-making process is flawed, aka you're going for a guy or you're going for a girl or whatever, you're making a wrong decision. If you put your decision-making process through a filter of people and they support your decision-making process, then you're going to enjoy your experience. If you allow other people to make that choice for you, you're probably not going to enjoy the experience.
When I was making my college experience, I already knew what I wanted to go for. I had actually done a summer program before, which had introduced me to my major, which is mechanical engineering. And so I knew what I wanted, so I looked up a bunch of schools based on that, which I recommend, because you'll find the ones that are best in that field. I don't know if you know what you want, but you'll end up where it's perfect for you. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. And I had a different school in mind, but looking back on it now, I couldn't imagine being there at all.
Okay, well, I literally had no idea where I wanted to go. No idea. I ended up getting denied from some places that were at the top of my list. And now that I go to ECU, I absolutely, like Ms. Copenhaver told me this over and over and over again, that you'll end up where you belong. I was like, I don't want to go to South Carolina. But then I cannot see myself anywhere else. I'm so obsessed with it. I joined a sorority. I love it so much. So really, when she says that, she's not kidding. Like, you'll end up where you're supposed to be. Even if you have to transfer after a year, like, you'll probably love wherever you go. That's what I'm going to say. So.
Anybody else want to feel that one? Georgia?
Swanee has been just the best school in the world for me. Throughout high school, I really thought I wanted to go to a big school like Ole Miss or Alabama, but after my parents said no, I had to look at some other schools, and I toured probably 10 or 12 schools. And when I visited Swanee, I went on a really, really boring weekend. Nothing was going on, but it was actually like on a Tuesday. And so, but that didn't even matter, because any school that you go to visiting, you don't need to go like on a weekend, because granted you'll have fun no matter what. But I just knew Swanee was the perfect school right there and then, and I could not be happier. And yeah, if you're thinking about going to a really big school, think about the small schools too, because I don't know. I love the feeling of everyone knowing who I am and being the center of attention. It's a great feeling.
So I had applied to like 22 schools, and is this on? Am I audible? Okay. So I had applied to like 22 schools. Ms. Copenhaver will confirm this. and I honestly just did not know what university I wanted to go to. I didn't even really know what size school I wanted or anything like that, but the one thing I did really kind of feel is that I wanted to do something a little bit different, something a little bit out of the ordinary. And so I went to St. Andrews without visiting it, without touring it. Just something about it felt right from people I had talked to online and things like that. And I really think that was the best thing I ever did, was meet people who go to the university, find them online, find them on Facebook, and talk to them. And people were very helpful about this, and honestly, it was probably the best decision I've ever made in my entire life, like hands down. So just really mine out what you're looking for, and if you really feel like it, take a risk. I really recommend it, because it didn't turn out bad for me.
I had a really rough time getting into college. I probably applied to like 10 schools. I got denied for my top choice. Deferred until June 30th from my second top choice. So I didn't even know if I would be in there until the middle of my summer. I got deferred from most of the other schools I wanted to go to, and the schools I got into I absolutely hated. So when January came around and I got a call from one of my really good friends who I'd sent to my house to look for my app acceptance letter that hopefully was going to be there that day. As soon as I found out I got in, I just said yes, that's where I want to go. I don't want to deal with any more deferrals. I don't want to deal with any more waiting. And like at first my parents made me wait for a while because they thought it was a rash decision because I hadn't seen the school in a year, didn't know if I really wanted to be there. And I honestly didn't feel like app was the right choice until I moved in. And when my parents left, they had like this whole welcome weekend, and we were like, oh, this is so lame, we don't want to go to all this stuff. But I actually went and met a bunch of people, and I haven't met a mean person at App. Like, that sounds really weird, but App is, seriously, I think the nicest people go there. Like, you can walk around and wave, and people will wave back to you, even if like you accidentally waved to them and you meant to wave to the person behind them, or you smiled at them and then they smiled back and you're like, oh, awkward, I didn't mean to wave or smile at you. Hey, it's nice to meet you. There's this one guy on campus who thinks I'm this girl named Sarah, and every single time I see him, he calls me Sarah. And he, like, now it's just a joke. I don't even know his name, and he doesn't even know mine. He just thinks I look like this girl named Sarah. And I just see him around all the time. So, I mean, you really have to, I think going to school is what makes it feel right. If you go to school and you don't like it, I mean, that's something you can always transfer. I mean, it's not that hard to transfer, but you will end up where you need to be, I promise.
Okay, let's move on to the next question now. Advantages of going to a school in state and advantages of going to a school out of state. Why don't we, okay, you want to do the out of state first, right? Go ahead.
So I live in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm okay with living that far away from my parents because I've traveled a lot, so I literally never got homesick these past 5 months. So if you do not get homesick, then I totally encourage you to go out of state if you get good scholarships and can afford it, because it is expensive, but it's also a good experience because you can get out of North Carolina, and that's what I wanted to do. And you're really far away from home, which I like. And your parents aren't there, and they can't drive up to Chapel Hill or Greenville and knock on your door, which I like. So.
Was that another out-of-state person? Alex or Georgia or me?
So I'm in Atlanta, more specifically the middle of Atlanta, and it's great being out of state. It's 6 hours away, so it's not a horrible drive, but it's definitely far enough where I'm on my own. And I went to Georgia Tech and I didn't know anyone else who was going there, and it's nice having that feeling of like a new beginning, where you can be whoever you want or do whatever you want. There's no preconceived notions. And starting, you're on your own, and it's a great feeling. So I'd go far away if you think you could do that.
I'm going to be done filling that one since you're across the line.
So yeah, far and away, my favorite part about going abroad is just the people that you meet. And because St. Andrews, first and foremost, is an international school more than a Scottish school. It's in Scotland, but it's about, I'd say, 10% American, 30% British. The Scandinavians are a big force, the Germans. There's a lot of people from all over the world. And the friends that you make and the experiences you have with these people are really amazing, and you won't forget them. And there's just something like really interesting about you, like, you think you're being seen as unique and special from being from America, because to them that's unusual, and then people like to ask you questions about what's home like, what's America like. It's a really interesting experience, and you learn a ton about different cultures, and it really does, you know, broaden your view and give you a whole new perspective on things. So if anyone is considering going abroad, even just for a semester, I cannot recommend it highly enough. It's absolutely amazing.
All right, what about our in-state folks?
I live in Boone, obviously, because I go to Appalachian. I feel like I'm kind of out of state though, because I'm probably 10 minutes away from the Tennessee border, like another 20 from Virginia. I'm probably the farthest away you can get in North Carolina from your parents without going out of state. So if you want to get really far away, but you necessarily can't afford to go out of state, or you just don't want to go out of state, I would suggest Boone, because it's around 6 hours away. It's very, very, very strange to meet someone from Wilmington. I honestly have only met one other person, I think, that's from Wilmington, other than the people from our high school, or people I already knew going there. I probably knew like 2 or 3 other people from Laney, but other than that, it's very strange. So it feels like you're going far away. So if you're interested in that, I would suggest Boone, because it's pretty good like amount away, but you can also still come home. So that's nice.
Some of our ECU folks, one of you do that.
Okay, well, Greenville is about 2 hours away, a little less than that, and that's not far away, but honestly, what you make of it, you can feel like you're away at college or not. I come home pretty good amount, but I still, when I'm at college, I feel like I'm away, and I know my parents aren't going to come knock on my door. If they did, I wouldn't be happy, but I mean, it is what you make of it. If you want to go far, you're not going to get homesick, then go. But if you really like a school close to home and that's where you want to go, but you still want to be far, you can make it seem like you're far. Distance really doesn't matter. As long as you want to stay, you stay. You want to go, then go. So.
I just wanted to say I'm so happy that I went in state. I almost went out of state. I almost went to University of Kentucky. And I feel like I'm really far away, just like Caroline was saying. I joined a sorority where not one person is from Wilmington, so no one that I hang out with is from Wilmington. Not that I don't love everyone from Wilmington, but I really do feel like I'm away. My parents haven't come and visited me except for parents' weekends, and I've only come home during breaks. So I feel like I have kind of the same experience with tuition that's like a quarter price. So, and I would love, out of state would be great too, but I really do love my in-state experience, and it really is what you make of it.
Erin, you have a very good experience because you're in your hometown, and you kind of addressed that earlier.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that it is different staying home. I mean, as strange as that sounds, different staying home, but I have to agree, you don't feel like you're in your same hometown. I have most certainly not felt that way. My parents would never knock on my door. That would be strange, just weird. Yeah, no. I mean, honestly, there's not a single, there's one other person from Wilmington in my dorm of 200. So it's not that I'm getting a different experience. I mean, I'm so happy here. I didn't think I wanted to be here, but I really, really am happy. As well as the fact that the dorm that I live in is part of something called Tri-House. It's Cornerstone where I live, and then the Honors and International House. So I'm literally a 10-foot walk from these people from all around the world, like 200 different people from multiple, I think it's 50-some countries that live there, and it's amazing. And I get to interact with them every day, and it's really not what people would expect when they say that they're going to stay in their hometown. It's really, really, really different. As well as, like what they said, tuition is really nice. But the thing that really did surprise me probably the most is how few locals there really were. Because I was an anomaly to begin with. Oh, where are you from? I'm actually from here. really are not that many people that you're going to run into. Granted, a lot of people do like to go to Wilmington because, I mean, Wilmington's kind of awesome, but otherwise, it's just been a really surprising and really gratifying experience that I really wouldn't trade for the world.
Okay, I'm going to send this one down to the end of the bench. Fields?
I am used to being at the end of the bench. Definitely. So I'm in the honors program at Carolina, so 4 of my 5 classes that I had this year were actually under the size of 30, so probably some of them are going to be better at answering big size classes versus little size classes, but one of mine, drama, was a big class of mine. Yeah, drama. I was with a lot of athletes. That's for you, Charles. So drama was my worst grade by far, if you'd believe that. And I definitely attribute that to it being a bigger class and me not being held accountable for actually showing up to class. Not that I didn't go to class, I went to class, but not every day. So bigger classes, the teacher's not going to be able to structure the class the way that it's going to be easy to come out with an easy grade and that she or he is hospitable to giving grade boosts in different types of projects and stuff. You're going to have a midterm, you're going to have a final, maybe a big project here, a big paper there. But if you're in a smaller class, then it's going to be easier for you to get a better grade. At least that's the experience that I had so far. But Kang will be able to give a better answer.
I think when thinking about class sizes, you have to think of what do you want. Some people want to be able to skip class when they want to skip class, and small classes are not conducive to that. Small classes also are not conducive to going in, sitting in the back, and then quietly walking out. I was in 4 classes, all 4 of which were under 30 people, one of which had 14 in it. And classes started on Monday, and by the Friday of the first week, all 4 of my professors said, "Hey, William," when I walked into class. They all knew every student's name by the end of the first week. So when you have that kind of relationship with your professors, they really care about you doing well. So it's like, even though the class is extremely difficult, I mean, even though they're giving you more work than you think you can handle, you can call them at home at 8 o'clock at night and say, "I don't get this paper," and they'll say, you know, "Oh, let me grab a pen, let me help you through your paper." Or you can go knock on their door at 6 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. I really have done that before, and sat down with the professor for an hour and just go over the stuff for the test that's going to be on Monday. They really do care when you're in a class that small. So I have really, really liked having small classes like that.
Andrew, have you had the experience of any like really large classes at NC State?
My economics class this semester was like 300 kids, and it was in like a big lecture hall, and I kind of sat near the back, so it was kind of easy to doze off during class a little bit. But in those types of classes, they kind of just like they read through, they have like structured notes they've been using for like 10 years and out of the textbook. So you just have to make sure that you study for the test, because I had like 3 grades and they're all tests, and that was it.
And you didn't have like a smaller lab or anything like that? Was it just that class of 300?
Yeah, that was just like the one.
Okay. Isn't it true that some of the classes have like a bio or a chem or something that has like a ton of people will have a smaller lab during the week? Okay. All right. Now what about workload? Your laugh, I see you smiling. Tell us about your workload, types of classes you've taken, just briefly.
I had a workload that at times was kind of ridiculous. At the end of the semester, I had a 57-page paper and a 10-page paper, and they were assigned 1 week before they were due. So the workload at Davidson has not been easy, but like I said earlier, they really are there to help you get through it, and I felt like I was prepared for it, and I felt like I was able to do it, even though at times, like, you looked at it and just thought, I can't do this. They really are there, and they really want to help you get through it, and you will be prepared to do it.
I experienced a little different from Williams. I had a lot of stuff that was due at the end of the semester that was assigned at the beginning of the year that would be in like my syllabuses and stuff. And I would slack off until maybe a day or two before it. So, you know, that's always really stressful. So I would not suggest doing that. I think I had like a 7-page research paper that I did the rough draft on 2 weeks before, and I only had 2 pages done, and then the day before I wrote 5 of them. I made a good grade though, so you know, it was solid. But I would suggest not slacking off. A lot of my classes were easy compared to Cape Fear classes. It was just, they were so easy that I almost didn't try them. So you have to be really careful about that too. They get harder. They're going to seem easy at first, but throughout the semester they get harder. And make sure you study for midterms and finals, because in my health class, there was only 400 points. 200 of them were the midterm and the final, and then the rest of them were like attendance and then doing the activities. So make sure you study a lot for everything and keep studying throughout the year, because if you study like once a week for something, it gets a lot easier to remember.
My classes, they kind of go on and off. Like I have a week where I have like nothing to do, just like homework, and then other weeks where I have like 3 tests in 1 week. So, but they give you a syllabus at the beginning of the semester that has all your assignments and tests and essays, or at the end of the year. So you just have to kind of follow that and keep on track with that.
I mean, I guess the experience I've had is that they're very lenient with, like there's no homework, for example. They don't keep track of what you're doing. You're expected to do the reading and the work on your own time. And there's only really 2 or 3 grades that will just like dictate your final grade. You'll have your 2 papers and then your final. Or you'll have your midterm and then your final. So in college, expect a few assignments that are pretty high stakes, I would say. And be sure to keep up with your work and follow the syllabus. It really does help at the end of the year.
So that brings up, I was just going to ask her later, but we may run out of time. So time management, extremely important, right?
I feel like not only like time management, obviously, but you need to get a group of people around you that are in your exact same classes. And I was lucky because I was in a living community this year, so I knew everyone in my dorm. And there wasn't a single class I had where I didn't know at least one person. Most of the time it was like 8 people in my dorm. And it really helps when there's finals or projects or, you know, even lab reports due, because you'll all get together and work on it, and you'll get through together, which is very important.
I can kind of agree with that. I feel like I live in the library. I feel like it's my second home pretty much, but it's fun though because everyone else is in there, and everyone's, you know, doing their work, so it motivates you to do your work. If you're just in your room, you're not going to be around anyone, because everyone's in the library. So, yeah, definitely be surrounded by people who want to learn, and everyone at Swanee loves to learn. And you know, in high school I was kind of always just like, but at Swanee you definitely don't fit in if you slack off.
Let's talk a little bit about let's switch gears now from academics and go into your other part of your college life. Not everything, but we'll touch on a few things. Let's talk a little bit about roommates and how that goes. How did you find your roommate, or do you room with somebody you know?
I was on East Carolina has a Facebook group for the incoming freshmen, and so you just get on there and everybody's talking about what classes, whatever. And a girl from Raleigh actually inboxed me, and we ended up. I mean, it went pretty well online. We had stuff in common. It was fine. I just figured it'd be okay. But now she's kind of attached to me at the hip, and it's really annoying. She's in ROTC, so she wakes up at 5 o'clock on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and comes back in at 7 usually. So make sure, I would go visit your roommate if you meet them online, and make sure you really hit it off well, because talking to her and texting her, it was fine. I thought it was really great. and we get along, but it's just frustrating to have someone constantly on your hip and wanting to be with you all the time. So just make sure you actually know the person, not just, oh, I've talked to them a few times. So make sure you actually know them.
Well, my roommate, I found her on the same thing as Caroline did. I would consider myself kind of not that hard to live with because I was never in my room, and she is in there quite a lot. I met her once over the summer. She lives in Raleigh. Her name's Catherine, just like Caroline's roommate. We both have a Catherine. She is very not the easiest person to live with. She kind of complains, but we're just very different. So I would just really suggest, it hasn't really put a damper on my college experience because I just go in my room and I just don't talk to her. But it really didn't ruin it because I have a sorority full of so many girls I love to death, and I just don't really see her very often. It worked out in a way that she has her own thing. She's in a different sorority, so I don't see her too much. So it worked out. Okay.
So you can make it work.
You can make it work, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Like, even if you think that there's no way that you can, you might be able to.
So I went random for roommates, and I wanted to be in a quad because I thought, 4 people, that'll be a lot of fun. And it is. And, well, it would be a lot of fun, but they're very. I'm really busy at school. Like, I'm always going out. I'm rarely in my room, and all they do is sit there and Skype and Facebook and play iPad games, and they like don't talk. There's this one girl, one of my roommates, we were rearranging it, and we were pushed the furniture, and she got stuck in between the bed and the wardrobe, and we're like, oh, we'll get you out in a second. And like we kind of forgot, and like 10 minutes later, she's just standing there. Like she didn't say anything. We were like really quiet. And so, it's not like it's a bad situation, but it could be better. But I would go random because whatever you do, if you meet the person online, it's still pretty random. You're gonna be living with a stranger. Like it'll be weird at first, but it's not gonna be bad. It's just interesting. Make sure this works. And you can always switch. Like you can always switch if it doesn't work out. That's what I'm trying to do.
So I didn't have a roommate for like the first 3 weeks of school, and I came back from fall break and there was someone in my room. He ended up being like, he was doing his master's program at State. He was from France, so he ended up being really cool. But and we were very different and from like different countries, so we kind of made it work. But he was really cool, and he came in and stayed with me for a little while over Christmas break. And he like invited me to come stay with him in France, so now we're like really good friends. So my roommate's a little present.
Okay, we need to move on. We only have a few minutes left, and I have a couple of questions I really want to get to. So, as far as becoming involved, I think many of you have mentioned that you're already involved in sororities and different activities. Would you all agree that it is important to become involved in things on campus other than just going to class? Maybe one person would address that.
I'm in a sorority at App, and sorority life at App is not big at all. So once you get in, it's like a really tight-knit group of people. But also for my sorority, I have to be involved in other clubs. It's a requirement, and if you're not, you get put on probation. So it's not good if you're not. So like they make you be involved. We're very involved in the community. We're helping an autistic camp come to Boone actually. My sorority is doing that. So if you get involved, they make you be involved. So like I know just from my experience, I don't know how it is at other schools, but I know at App that's how it is.
Okay, one question is a little bit different, but I'd like maybe one person to address this one, and that is, what should freshmen look out for, or how can you be prepared for the unexpected?
I don't know, I didn't have anything that was unexpected, but just some advice in being prepared for college is don't say no to any opportunity. Get yourself out there and get yourself exposed. Like for my dorm, the lady who runs it sent out an email, and one of the professors, he's a member of IEEE, which is an engineering community, and he said that they have funds to take 4 students to Washington, and so I just sent in an application, and I got to go to Washington, expenses paid. You know, it was a great experience, so just get out there don't be worried. Nothing bad's going to happen. It's fun. Just don't say no. Get involved in everything. You can.
All right, that's good advice. One thing now I'd like to turn your attention to the folks sitting in front of you now. The seniors who are sitting around chewing their nails, waiting for the letters or what have you to come in. What suggestions do you have now, looking back, for helping the seniors with the stresses they're feeling?
Well, the first part of senior year really sucks because you're doing applications all the time, and that's just the way it is. But once the spring comes around, you start knowing where you're going to go, and it all ends up being okay in the very end. But the process is hard, it's just in the end it turns out okay.
I would just have to say, whatever you do, don't get heartbroken over, I mean, you all seem really smart and you know what you're doing, but I was so upset about not getting into the schools, and I really, truly didn't know where I was going until literally, I think May. Maybe end of April. Like I said, I knew where I was going in March, but I was holding out for those waitlisted things, so just don't be too upset about anything, because I swear it'll work out.
Now, what, for those freshmen, well, 8th graders even, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, what advice can you give them now, or what should they be doing as they get down the road to preparing for college?
Well, as we were applying to colleges, I felt like it was really hard for us to get into even like state and Carolina is pretty much impossible to get into, at least for, the average B student. But for 8th graders, I have a brother in 7th grade, and I keep telling him just make straight A's, just work as hard as you can, because I just have a feeling that it's going to be even harder to get into colleges by the time that you all graduate, so work hard.
I would say 2 things for the 8th graders and the freshmen. First off, try not to have the the sophomore slump or make a C your junior year. Really try to be strong all the way through academically, because that's what's going to matter the most getting into school. And I think other than that, both from a college standpoint and just from your whole high school experience, find something you love and then do it really, really well. Whether it's sports or something in the arts or community service, find whatever you're good at or you love doing, and then just do it as much as you can all the way through high school. And colleges are going to love that, and for 2, you're going to be really happy your senior year when you're getting to lead whatever that is.
Very good. Now, the bell has rung, so I have one last question that I would like to ask, and I don't feel that you want to wrap this one on. But what do you wish someone had told you before you went to college? Or is there, does anybody have something you wish you had known before you headed on?
What I would wish that I had known. I think the thing that that anyone could have told me is that any premonitions that you have about college are not going to be true necessarily for you. Everyone has a different college experience, and any advice that any of us have given you isn't necessarily going to be 100% accurate to you. You have to reflect on yourself and make sure that anything that you are listening to us actually fits the mold of what you want in a college and that sort of thing. But college is hard. College is really, really hard. And if you work hard, then you are going to do well. But if you don't work hard, then you're not going to do that well. So in high school, work hard, and that'll just prepare you to be able to work hard in college and do well then and thereafter.
Anything